A very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for day 5 of this year's Industry Samurai Awards and Conference. We have an exciting panel today. We have a pantheon of speakers, of industry experts, sector experts from a company or leading manufacturing company, Marposs India, with us. They're going to share with us valuable insights, presentations on topics ranging from electric vehicles to digital platforms on the subject that we have today, which is precision engineering for manufacturing excellence. I will not take your time. I'll get out of the way and bring the speaker, the first speaker, who's going to share with us a presentation. I'll introduce the speaker to you. The first speaker is Mr. Luca Mattiocci, Managing Director, Marposs India Limited. Let me quickly introduce his illustrious profile to you. Associated with Marposs SPA, Italy, since 2007, Mr. Mattiocci started to work as final check engineer, and thanks to his experience in various countries, in 2015, he moved to the UK, and in 2019, he became a service and quality manager in Marposs, UK, taking care also of the post-process gauges and leak test machines. A versatile electromechanical technician with a passion to learn and implement new technologies, Luca has created and led multifunctional teams to satisfy complex projects within the automotive industry. Born in 1983, he understands technical studies in electronics and telecommunications. Over to Luca.
Thank you very much for your introduction, Anand, and for this great opportunity to showcase what Marposs Group is became in the recent years. So let me share my screen. So here we are. So Marposs, as you maybe can see by our background, has been founded in 1952. So this year is our 70th year anniversary, and our headquarters located in Bentivoglio, Bologna, in Italy, and that is the aerial picture of it. What is Marposs? What Marposs Group is doing, and what are our services? Let's say. Marposs is a supplier of the widest range of equipment for the quality and manufacturing process control in the production environment. We became the world leader in measurement technology by offering to our customer a combination of advanced products, market knowledge, and a commitment on the long-term partnership. We are present with our own sales and service organization in 25 countries. Along to this, there is also a network for agents and distributors in another more or less dozen countries. And these numbers are in a continuous evolution. Just to give you a glimpse of the group in figures, as you briefly mentioned before, we are present in 34 countries worldwide with 80 offices. Our export, as you can see, is 94%. So I mean, mainly, almost everything of our production is exported. And we are currently approximately 3,500 employees all over the world. We made 28 acquisitions since the 2000, while the majority of them in the last 10 years. And we're investing our 8% of turnover in research and development. As everybody knows, the 2020 has been a quite a challenge year due to the COVID situation that affected not only the manufacturing industry, but almost all the industry in the world. But thanks to our advanced technology product and quality product, we have been able to recover in some sort of way a difficult situation in 2020, closing with a turnover of approximately 4,010 million euros in 2021, with more or less the division. So 50% mainly in Europe, while the remaining 51 between Asia and America. How we are, let's say, present worldwide, just to give an idea. The main sales and service organization centers are located in Germany, China, USA, Japan, and Italy, while the main manufacturing plants are in Italy, China, Germany, USA, and France. What are our end user so how is divided our market, let's say? More or less, Marposs Group is working with two big categories. One are the system integrators, where we are supplying our application in the machine tool makers and gauge and fixture makers. The other segment are the end user, so that could be automotive, aerospace, biomedical, glass, energy, 3C, and bearing, electronic motors, and compressors. So as you can see, we are in very wide spectrum of fields, of markets. Going a little bit more in detail about our product range, we are starting from the application for the machine tools. So what we are saying about machine tools is our grinding and cutting, forming, and stamping machines. So in the matter of the in-process gauge and touch probe, so we are discussing about part measurement during the mechanical elaboration. We can able to provide the in-process gauges and touching probes, post-process gauges to verify and assess if after the machining the part is in tolerance and is in line with expectation, and plugs for interoperational and or final inspection. We got also our tool control division for the contact and non-contact laser system for tool measurement monitoring and compensation. So still a part of the machine tool. While in the end, we got the machining and processing monitoring. So this could be grinding wheel balancers, sensor to control the force, the power, the vibration, the noise, the displacement, the part, the die, the tool deformation, and the manufacturing execution system software. While in the gauging, inspection, testing, and assembly solution, we are able to provide the inline gauging. So we are designing and manufacturing gauging machine and automated loaded station for 100% dimensional and geometrical inspection. Offline gauging, so manually, more or less manually loaded benches and handheld gauges, variable and attribute types. Inspection machine, so machine vision based that will not, let's say, make any damage to the part. We are also providing the testing. So testing, what means testing? So leak test, non-destructive test, so NDT, and functional testing solution. In the end, one of our latest and recent acquisition gave us the opportunity also to be enter in the field of the assembly with automatic assembly solution integrated also with inspection and testing. Another important part of Marposs are the contact gauges, while my colleague later will give you a much wider and deeper presentation. That those could be electronic, air to electronic, or hard gauging, non-contact gauging, so shadow casting, reflectometer, interferometer, chromatic and confocal, vision system with infrared and high resolution camera, process monitoring and sensor and software, so position, force, vibration, and software as mentioned before. The leak testing, that could be pressure decay, mass flow, mass spectrometer with a vacuum chamber and sniffer, and functional testing, so laboratory and offline testing for e-motor and fuel cell. Here, overview of what are the company facing part of the group divided for the industrial sector. So as you can see in the top left corner, regarding the in-process and post-process gauging, we having the control gauging that is USA, the Zhongguan in China, Aeroel in Italy, Movomatic in Switzerland. While for the process monitoring and sensor, we are having Artis in Germany, Brancam still in Germany, Dittel again in Germany, and Schwerer and Kopka in Germany too. Moving towards industrial automation, we having the electro system that is based in Italy. And while for the gauging, we are having Aeroel, still Aeroel, tool holders that is based in USA, Shamal Cadence that is in Germany, Metrel that is in Italy, along MG, and Millennium in USA, and still in France. Moving to the bottom part of the, let's say, the screen, we are having our group company Blue Link in Italy for the software for the quality environment in the factory. EDC still in Italy for the electrical testing of the motor. While for the leak testing, we are having helium technology still in Italy, along MG and Tecne. For the aerospace field, we are having Kern in France and MIME in Mexico. As you know, or less as everybody you know, in the last few years, even before COVID, there has been a massive movement towards the electrification, and not even only on the electrification. So as Marposs Group, born mainly for supporting our customer in the IC engines, thanks to the acquisition that we made in the last few years, we are able to provide solution also in what we call the strategic markets. One of these is obviously the EV for the automotive, but not even for the automotive, and we see it later. But especially for the automotive field, we're able to provide solution for gauging and inspection of fuel cells, leak testing for the battery, the end-of-line testing machine still for the battery, extensive 3D quality control, hairpin optical gauging, stator electrical testing, gear NVH testing, gear laser scanner, leak test by helium or electrolyte tracing, gauging inspection in the R2R process, and the battery electrical testing. So as you can see, thanks to, as you said, to the latest acquisition, we've been able now to provide our solution in a very large field of inspection. Another market that is strategically for Marposs is biomedical, where with our product we are able for checking in the disposable field tubes with dimensional checks, syringes with assemblies, bags, connector, filter, assembly part with our leak testing solution, and also measurement of small bore connector for liquid and gaseous cylinder. Still in the biomedical, moving along from the disposable, we are able also to check with our system the implants, so orthopedic implants inspection, implantary screw testing, complex implant assembly automation, and threads measurement. Moving along to the consumer electronics market, we are able to provide probing and monitoring on machine tools, of machine part dimension, measuring both content and non-content time, and leak testing for both single components such as enclosure or the full assembled product as its final assembly testing packaging phase. In the recent year, we also invest a lot in the semiconductor sector, thanks to our, let's say, strong knowledge about the in-process solution. So now we are able also to provide our solution sensor for the wafer processing. So acoustic sensor to detect the wire breakage and immediately stop the machine in order to avoid major damages. Infrared sensor to control the thickness during and soon after the wafer lapping. Contact gauges or non-contact sensor for tight control on the thinning in process operation. While we are still obviously providing our application for metrology and surface inspection, so chromatic confocal technology that is shown as the best solution for high accuracy measurement. We will provide different type of line sensor to obtain 3D images. And for microscopic purpose, 2D chromatic confocal line cameras are also available. For the aerospace, we are also in this field, and Marposs provide supplies, precision gauges, and tooling system to the aeronautics and space customer worldwide. These are including fixture, machine monitoring system, and acoustic and automating inspection machine. Marposs solutions are used not even and only during the project, but also for the assembly, final inspection, and MRO of almost every modern aircraft engine manufactured. Moving along to the white goods, as briefly mentioned before, we got competencies on providing leak test benches for various type of application, electric test benches for the electrical motor, not only, as I briefly mentioned before, for the EV sector, and the assembly lines for various type of application components. Still in the sector more or less related to the white goods, we are also specialized and taking confidence in application for the HVAC components, where more or less we are able to support and provide a solution to our customer in the air conditioning fields, industrial refrigeration, that could be chemical, pharmaceutical, and food and beverage, statutory refrigeration and transport refrigeration, domestic and industrial heating, with our application that could be dimensional control tools and benches, leak test benches, electrical test benches, and assembly lines. I tried to summarize in a very short time and compact as possible in order to don't take out the time to my colleagues that for sure will be able to explain in much more detail, in much more interesting mode than me, our application. So I thank you again for this opportunity, and I leave the stage to my colleague. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Luca, for that insightful and elaborate and detailed presentations. I have so many questions about it, and I'm going to put forward some of these questions to you towards the end of our presentation. Now, for the next presentation, we have Mr. Raman Upamanyu, who is the Business Development Manager for electric vehicles. Over to you, Raman.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anand, for having us here. Thank you so much, Luca, for providing an insight of Marposs to all of our viewers. As Anand said that I am looking forward for EV business here in Marposs, India. I'll quickly go through the solutions of Marposs in EV group. So this slide Luca has already shown. So we do have a solution. Basically, Marposs deals into the measurement, inspection, and testing of EV components. So you can see here we have the solution for fuel cells, gauging and inspection of fuel cells, leak test applications, end of line testings. For motors, we have hairpin optical gauging, stator electrical testing, complete motor electrical testing, rotor electrical testing. For transmissions, we have gear NVH testing, gear laser scanners. For batteries, we do have a solution right from the child part level to the complete assembly level. Again, measurement and testing, gauging, leak test, and electrical testing. I'll quickly go through all the solutions we have for electric vehicle segments. So the technologies which Marposs use here is contact gauging, that is the LVDT probes to check the dimensions. Non-contact gauging shows laser interferometry, chromatic confocal, reflectometers, vision systems. We do have high resolution cameras to inspect any kind of defects, process monitoring sensors, in which we have displacement sensors, force sensors, vibration sensors, and MES softwares. In leakage testing, we have two types of leakage testing system available. One is helium leakage testing, another one is air leakage testing. In functional testing, we have the electrical testing system available for all the components, whether it is batteries or whether it has electric motors for laboratory environment as well as the production environment. So I'll start it with the solution we have for electric motor industries. So basically, motor comprises of these child parts: rotor, stator, motor housing, cooling jacket, and complete e-motor. Marposs do have a solution to inspect and test these components. We have the solution to for the inspection of rotor, stator, cooling jacket, complete e-motors, and even the electrical and leakage testing at these child part levels. So first solution which Marposs has for electric motors is OptoFlash and OptoQuick. We have rotor shaft assembled inside the motor. So if anyone wants to conduct the dimensional measurement of rotor shafts without even touching the rotor shaft, we have an optical gauge through which we can conduct this measurement. So Marposs is able to conduct any kind of measurement through this gauge, right from shaft length starting from 100 mm till 900 mm. So we can conduct OBR, ODB, pitch runout, and even the dynamic measurements that with this gauge. Second solution we have for stator assemblies. So we have designed this flexible gauge, manual or automatic, that can be customized as per the customer requirement for hairpin stator measurement and inspection by laser scanning. We can reconstruct the 3D of the part through our software. External and internal diameter of the stators can be measured. Features of isolating papers around the hairpins. So complete inspection of stators can be done through this solution. Next, we have special contact gauging solutions for rotors and stators. So as I explained that in my previous slide, we have a solution for measurement of rotors, that is non-contact solution. Now, if someone wants to have a dynamic measurement through contact gauging, like measurement of multiple diameters, measurement of distances, measurement of runouts, inspection of balancing holes with laser scanning, we can customize our solution. For the stator, yes, again, we do have the customizable machineries to measure ID and ODs, dynamic measurement of concentricity of external diameters respect to the inner axis. Possible, we do have a possibility of automatic part loading and unloading. That again depends on customer requirement. Before moving on further, I would just like to tell my viewers that Marposs do manufacture the customizable equipments. We customize our equipments as per the requirement of our customers. Next solution is for hairpins. So currently we are using copper wires for the insulation. This is the new technology of hairpins through which windings can be made. It is very reliable and like strong technology through which you can say the stators can be made. So we do have a solution for inline measurement of the wire. That is, if you want to measure the width of the wire, we have a laser solution from our group company called AeroL. If you want to measure the thickness of the hairpin, we do have the solution. There is a coating which is being done into the hairpins. So through our confocal chromatic technology, we can able to measure the thickness of the coating, which we cannot see from the naked eye. Another we have developed a dimensional gauging for hairpin to check the bending of the hairpin, whether the bending is being done properly or not. Now, as I explained to you, we do have a solution for testings also. In testings, we have two types of solutions available. One is electrical testing, another one is leakage testing. So in electrical testing, further, if I go down, I can explain you that we do have a solution for every child part level. Like for stators, end of line production, we have the stator testing solution available. Like we can have the surge test, high pot, insulation resistance, and even the partial discharge measurement. For rotors, yes, we have a quality control solution to check the black electromotive force inside the rotors. So, and we do have the solution for electrical motor testing, complete electrical motor testing as per the industry standard IEC 60034. So you can see from this side that Marposs is everywhere. Marposs is 360-degree. Like if I talk about stator and end motor testing, we can provide our customer the solution for laboratory as well as the complete production environment. Next, assembly and leakage testing of electric motors. As I explained, Marposs have the solution for leakage testing. We generally do the leakage testing with two different methods. One is air method and another one is helium method. That depends on the leakage rate of the customer, defined leakage rate of the customer. If customer wants to have wants to detect minute leakages, we can offer helium leakage testing solution to our customers. And if the requirement is being met by air sensors, we can provide the air leakage testing solution. We have two types of other air leakage testing solutions available here. If someone wants to have the leakage testing, yes, we can support. And if someone wants to have the flow testing, we do have a system which can have leakage as well as the flow testings available. As our MD, Mr. Luca Mattiucci explained, we do have complete assembly line solutions. Like basically we manufacture the complete assembly lines for rotors to stator and complete electric motors, inverters and battery charge assembly. Now moving on to the powertrain segment. As you can see from this slide, Marposs can provide a wide range of product and customized application dedicated to process control and quality check of the transmission and its components. So mainly in the transmission components, we have three elements. One is case, another one is gear reducer, and third one is housing. So Marposs do have a solution to inspect everything. Like you can see, for gears measurement, we can measure the cylindrical gears, spur gears, helical gears, shaft gears, internal ring gears. Any kind of dimensional measurement that is to be carried out on the gears, Marposs is there. We have a machine which can detect like basically shim determination and selective assembly. We have the leak testing of the gearbox assemblies. I would like to draw my viewers' interest into this solution, since now we are moving towards electrification and the sound which was previously coming from the engines will be reduced now, and only sound left will be from the gears. So in order to minimize that sound, we need to have the NVH testing, that is noise, vibration, and harness testing on the gears. Marposs is ready to support you with these kind of solution. Like we can provide the customized solutions at the gear and complete gearbox level so as to ensure that gears noise can be reduced. Now moving on to the battery segments, we have the solution for cells, modules, and complete pack level. I'll quickly go through the solutions which Marposs have for all these levels. We have gauging and inspection in R2R process. Basically, now we all know that Government of India has issued a PLI scheme of worth $2.5 billion in order to boost the local manufacturing of cells. So Marposs is has already designed its solution to support our Indian customers for cell manufacturing. This is the process through which the cell is being made. First rolling is being done, coating and drying, calendering, slitting, and separation. Marposs have their solution for every segments. So during the roll-to-roll process, we have a chromatic confocal sensor through which we can check the thickness of the coating and even the thickness of the foil. We have a laser micrometer from our group company, which can provide you the dimensions, width of the coil basically. This solution would be a lot of interest for our viewers. Once the slitting operation is being done, there is a chances of formation of burrs on the edges of the roll. So Marposs has introduced a high camera resolution solution, which we have two cameras over here. One is matrix camera, another one is linear camera, through which we can detect the size of the burrs. And I would draw my viewers' attention into is that Marposs is very well known for its precision. So we can detect a burr up to size of even 5 microns. Next, for the aluminum cases onto the manufacturing of the cells, we do have a solution to check the cracks from in the aluminum housing. So this is totally completely non-destructive testing. We can have this testing through eddy currents. Next, as I explained in the motor segment, we do have the leakage testing solution of battery cells. We again have a two type of solution. One is helium, another one is air. And it would be my honor to share one newly development solution from our group company. They have done a lot of R&D. We can now detect the electrolyte tracing basically. So what I mean by electrolyte tracing, we can have the cell inside the vacuum chamber and we can detect the size of electrolyte which is being coming out from the cells in order to ensure that the cells which are now going for the module and pack assembly should be totally leak proof. So we do have the leakage testing solution for battery packs also. In that, again, we can check the cooling circuit through our air leakage testing solutions. We can have the leakage testing solution with helium technology also for the pack assembly. Suppose our customers, obviously the pack is being now manufactured and you know that there is a leakage from the pack. Now our customer wants to know that from where the leakage is, because if our customer will not know that from where the leakage is, ultimately anyhow, they need to reject the part. So Marposs has developed a technology to find out the location of leakage through our helium sniffing technology. As in electrical motors, we do have an end-of-line electrical testing solution for battery cells. So Marposs here provides you one-stop solution. We can provide you the electrical test solutions like OCV, open circuit voltage, ACIR, AC internal resistance, DCIR, DC internal resistance, insulation test, and we can possibly integrate our leakage testing solution with this machine. So what I want to explain is you don't have to have different machines. Marposs can provide you one-stop solution. This is really a great solution introduced by Marposs. We do have the welding and measurement of electrical resistance. So what I mean by electrical resistance, once cells are being assembled into the bus bar, they are being assembled through spot welding or the laser welding. So if we want to check the electrical resistance of that weld joint, Marposs has the turnkey solution and fully automatic solution also and semi-automatic solution also, through which we can detect the electrical resistance of that weld joint. We have the capability to detect the internal electrical resistance from 3 microohms to 5 microohms. Another solution which Marposs has introduced for electrical testing of battery packs. Now, as we see in our previous slide, we have the solution for cell level, now complete pack level. Yes, Marposs has developed the solution to have complete thorough electrical testing. When I was having a panel discussion 2-3 days back, I insisted on the quality of the cells and testing of the complete battery packs. So this is where Marposs can support you to have the testing, OCV, high-pot, pulse, DCIR, BMS writing, BMS data comparison, and possible integration of leakage test also in this solution. Marposs is not only into the EV lithium-ion segment batteries. Marposs has seen the future now, and they have already developed few of their solutions for hydrogen market also. So we have the solution for PEM fuel cells components, that is proton exchange membrane fuel cell components. Marposs can provide the solution for flow plates and bipolar plates. We have the solution for catalytic membrane, gas diffusion layers, MEA, complete stack assembly, and hydrogen valves. I'll quickly explain about our solutions for hydrogen market. Again, in order to have the thickness measurement of any roll, any foil, we are there to support you with our chromatic confocal sensors and interferometric sensors. We do have the offline gauging and inspection of CCM, GDL, and MEA. Again, confocal line camera, confocal line sensors for complete topography mapping of the defect. And we have the offline gauging of bipolar plates and flow plates. Again, for leakage testing, we do have for fuel cells also, we do have the leakage testing solution available. We can test 3 circuits on individual bipolar plates, and even we can check all the circuits on the stack assemblies. We have the high pressure valve testing equipment available. Helium leakage testing in vacuum chamber can also be done for the bipolar plates. Coming on to the electrical and end-of-line testing, we have end-of-line testing machines for full stack assembly, activation and end-of-line testing for solid fuel cells, also stack assemblies. Electrical and functional testing, we have the solution for electrical and functional testing of PEM fuel cells components. That is, if again, like we saw in fuels, lithium ion battery segments, we can measure the interfacial contact resistance for bipolar plates in fuel cells also. So that will be all from my side. If any queries from any of the customers, I can be available through this. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Raman, for that passionate presentation of Marposs's EV offerings. It's a very, very hotly discussed topic nowadays, the issues of battery safety and battery management system. And I have so many questions for you and Marposs around this topic. Now, our next presenter, who's going to present his thoughts to you, is Mr. Sachin Rampur, Assistant Product Manager in Process Solutions. He's going to talk about NIDA and Artis offerings. Sachin, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Anand. Thanks for the brief introduction. So I hope the screen is visible to everybody. Yes, at Marposs, we have a cutting machine tool philosophy wherein we strongly believe that there are 4 steps to increase the productivity. One is with the production quality. One is with the workpiece setup. Second is with the tool presetting. Third is with the tool process verification. And finally, with the part inspection. So how are we going to implement them on the machine? It's a big question, right? So answering on to the ongoing problems or day-to-day problems at the shop floor, we would like to just get you into a glimpse of what we offer on to resolve the solutions of the customers or the problems of the customers. Here is a joint video with this Micromatic, which we have done to address all the queries of the customers. Any machining center, vertical, it might be vertical, horizontal, or a lathe. So this is our tool setting solution, wherein we can measure both length and diameter of the tool, and also the axial breakage of the tool. And every product of ours is program driven on a CNC machine. As you can see in the video, you can measure both length and diameter of the tool. And this is a spindle probing solution. So, optical receiver, we have a radio ones also, but with optical we have the self-pairing mode, which is one of the uniqueness of our product. And we are available on both Android and iOS platform with the option called Ready to Probe, wherein you can just use them to have a easy programming inside the shop floor. So with all the OEMs, we can also develop a special interface to work along with all our solutions. So this is our fast tool breakage sensor. So that's ACE Designers, which is or ACE Micromatic Group, which is all you need in machining, and we also are with them to cater solutions along for the industry. And having said the philosophy of cutting machine tools, like the 4 steps of productivity improvement, the workpiece setup, which you just saw in the video, like earlier days, we used to use a poppy dial or a small dial to set up the workpiece inside the machine. But modern days, we have a workpiece set up with a probe. It might be with optical or a radio technology, wherein we can perform the first and the fourth step together. We can also perform the work offset on the machines and auto update them onto the CNC controller. And also we can measure the part with the similar kind of probe, and then we can also update the measured dimensions too. And secondly, with the tool presetting, as you saw in the video, it measured the tool length and tool diameter as well. With contact type and non-contact type, we have both the solutions, and tool at process verification by inspection of axial breakage with our TBD to the laser, wherein you can have multiple inspection points on a cutting tool. And that's a solution from our side. Like, just to have a glimpse about all our solutions on the cutting arena, like as you can see, we have TLS, which is called tool length setter, which can help us to have the tool length detection inside the machine, and it also can detect an axial breakage of the tool in the event of breakage inside the machine itself, inside the machining area. And all these products are having an IP grade index protection range of IP67 or more. And we have subclassified our solutions into 2 areas, like wireless and wired solutions. And when you look at wired solutions, we have a graph where it shows the price versus the features. So starting with the 2 TLS economical solutions, catering, solving the problems at tier 1 and tier 2 and the tier 3 markets, and TS30, a well-known product wherein you can measure both length and diameter of the tool, with also additional feature of axial breakage detection. And also it consumes very less space in the machining arena. Like, if you just can bring in the stylus into the working area, it works. So a fantastic product, or a robust product to use inside a machining area with a hardwired solution. And moving on to our the wireless solutions, wherein you can see on the screen, like VOTS, which comes with optical receivers or infrared transmissions technology, and WRTS with the radio transmission technology, wherein you can measure both length, diameter of the tools, and also the axial breakage. So having said about the contact type solutions, let's move on to our non-contact type solutions. With the help of TBD, as you saw in the video, it just flashes a laser beam, and then for all kind of round tools, it detects the tool breakage within 1 second. And even in case of a through coolant tools, it might add additional of 1 second, but it's still even a faster way to identify the tool breakage inside a fast machining center or a high-speed machining center. And the ML75, the laser technology, wherein we have a patented thing with our MIDA lasers that is called air tunnel effect, wherein you can have the air blowed whenever there is a coolant on command inside the machine. Like before we get into the machining area, we ensure that there is no dust or a coolant or any sort of foreign particles having on the measurement arena, so that we have a clean and green measurement with high accuracy of up to 0.2 microns. And this laser is very helpful to measure tools starting from 10 microns till 298 millimeters, which is one of the core strength of our MEDA laser inside the machining area. So, and we have also our special solutions for the automotive market, wherein we can measure the bores inside the machine, wherein we can measure bores at multiple places, and then we can transmit the signals wirelessly with the help of our radio transmitter to the machine, and we can also give auto corrections to the boring bars too, if the boring bars are capable enough to take the correction. So that was a brief glimpse about our probing solutions on the machining area. And moving on to our monitoring solutions, everybody will ask a first question, like why we need to do monitoring on the cutting machines. Answering on to all the questions, like if you want to detect some sort of collisions inside the machine, or even a tool breakage or a tool wear, which are the common day-to-day concerns of any, or a pain point of any machine user inside the shop floor. So to detect all of them, we have our dedicated solution, and to have a 360-degree overview of the cutting process, and also addressing the modern days norms like IoT and IIoT stuff. We have all the solutions to the machine tool industry. And having said all of these things, every chip will tell a story as per the machining experts. And I would proudly say that we record it and we make it visualized to them, so that they have a brief insight about what is going on inside the machine. And we have a wide variety of sensor families, wherein we have true power monitoring sensors, and we have a sensorless monitoring channel also with our modern generation linear modular systems. We call it as the heart of our monitoring hub called GEM CPU. And we have different kind of interfaces as per the machine varieties are there, and the controller capabilities are concerned. And we have force monitoring sensors, acoustic emission sensors, coolant flow monitoring sensors, and majorly the strain sensors, which are one of the biggest advantages in a machining area. So how do we do? And this is a simple glimpse on a turning center. How do we monitor the process inside a machining area? So you have seen the vertical machining application. Now we are going to see the lathe application, wherein you can see how we are going to monitor the process.
Data and transmits them to the evaluation unit. Various sensors with the encoding measuring transducers complete the system. The visualization software as part of the package displays the processes clearly.
And this is a self-explanatory video, as you can see here.
Curve is identical with the green teaching curve. The alarm limits are illustrated in red. An additional evaluation of spindle data for missing tool or wear.
So we can monitor all the three axes in any sort of machines, cutting machines, in a fully automatic way. Like now, the green ones are the learning cycles, as you just saw in the video earlier, and you can also see the spindle load, or to have a wear and wear monitoring on the sideways in the bar graphs. And now we started with the upper and lower limits, and the blue one, the green is plot-in value, and the blue ones are the current cycles. And now the limits are self-adjusting, and then they automatically optimize themselves with the help of artificial intelligence. And thanks to artists for developing such a intelligent system to the industry.
The user has several options to reactivate the monitoring following an alarm. This is what the buttons on the right edge of the screen are for.
So these are the different options we have, wherein we can you can make the system more sensitive or less sensitive. You can repeat the learning cycle. You can do the remachining or reworking with the help of the rework option. You can set the temporary limits, and also you can adjust the wear manually and automatically in both the ways. And we have multiple user levels also.
How an alarm originates.
So now you can see what happens when there is a deviation in the process. Like there was a slight chip off of the tool and there is a deviation in the limit and we stop the machine. So this in turn helps us to have a better overall equipment efficiency inside the machine area.
Tool process monitoring.
So we recommend to have linear modular on all the machines wherein you want to increase the productivity or the OE of your machines. So having just gone through a video, now we have a different portfolio, a complete portfolio of the linear modular solutions, as you can see on the screen. Initially with the strain and acceleration sensors, having the machine protection arena, and also the tool protection arena, wherein you have the distance sensor, the acoustic sensors, and we have multiple things which can be done along with our CPU module, and all these systems can be interconnected with the CAN bus, so that we don't need anything extra like a Ethernet cable or to anything to interconnect them. And these systems are IoT compatible. They can be connected through to the Ethernet port with a normal crossover Ethernet cable, and then we have IoT software of ours called See-Through, wherein you can see the .csv reports of each and every process of yours, and you can see a trend report of the batch produced, and also an alarm report which has been generated in any machine in any event of the use of all the systems. And to have a cloud-based system wherein we do monitoring of a machine. We do interconnect and we collect the data, we process them, and then we analyze through our software called See-Through. So we are also IoT compatible as on today. And last but not the least, I would like to take you through one of the major or a common problem which everybody in the industry face, that's collision. What is collision to us?
Sachin, can you hear me? I think your voice has gone off the air. Sachin was talking about, he'll be back with us shortly. Great insights and great ideas on chips and the fact that every chip tells a story. Meanwhile, we'll wait for Sachin to join us. Meanwhile, I think we'll continue with the next presentation, and whenever Sachin joins us, he can complete the remaining presentation. So next, the next speaker, the next presenter that we have with us is Mr. Sarabjit Singh, who is the Product Sales Manager, Machine Tool Solutions. He's going to talk about BrandCamp, which is a Marposs brand, and TTV, which is Total Thermal Vision. Sarabjit, over to you for your presentation.
So good evening all. Hope I am perfectly audible, Mr. Anand, to everybody, and my presentation is visible. Right.
Loud and clear.
Thanks. So thanks all, for giving, us this platform on Samurai Awards to share what all Marposs solutions can be for the industry and specific for the growing Indian industry. We started with an excellent, let's say the all round, let's say presentation by our Mr. Luca. And then, Raman carried, really the most important segment for us right now, the EV segment, which is, the need of the hour for us to develop a, let's say facility in that. And then, Sachin has covered, a little bit aspect on, our, let's say machine tool segment. I'll focus on, our segments related to, casting and then stamping. These are the segment where a lot of technological, let's say advancements have been done by Marposs, and pretty much, let's say we is yet to be, let's say exposed or, exploited by the Indian companies to, get benefits out of it. So we'll, run through that. Okay. So we focus on the, let's say casting, and casting specifically, the light alloy casting. We focus that, we'll be focusing on a parameter called as die surface temperature and see how we can, monitor that and, reap the benefits during our manufacturing. We'll also focus on the metal stamping process where, the focus will be introducing, let's say various sensors and monitoring the, let's say the signals of those sensors to enable certain benefits, improve the productivity and, have a much better, let's say manufacturing going on. We start with light alloy, casting. Here our focus will be, let's say machines which produce parts through casting process. So the entire process is, let's say a machine. We got, the tooling, which are the dies. We got the, the raw material, which is molten aluminum. All these together, produce the parts. The processes, the various components by being producers are, relevant with HPDC, which is high pressure die casting, low pressure die casting, as well as gravity die casting. So all these processes, the focus as a the Marposs solution, we try to, let's say focus upon die surface temperature, means the tooling surface temperature, and see how, let's say important it is if properly monitored and what kind of benefits which we can reap. So the process in a, let's say a casting machine is, you close the dies, you pour the molten metal, you inject the, let's say the material, the molten metal, the metal gets solidified, then the die is opened, there's ejection of, let's say component, and there is a spraying and blowing on the die. So if you see the entire process of, the casting in a HPDC cycle, almost 20 to 40% of the cycle time is, the spraying and the blowing. If we are able to monitor the temperature of the die, this can be drastically reduced. A drastically reduced cycle time leads to, let's say more productivity in the existing setup. So our, let's say the main emphasis comes on the die surface temperature, which pretty much is not checked, as a part of the machine. The die itself is, monitored with respect to, let's say the temperature, but not at the surface. Then the entire surface temperature is mapped through a thermal imaging, with which we are able to ensure, let's say a higher quality parts, as well as very important that we ensure with the proper monitoring that, the die undergoes very low thermal stress. This will ensure the longevity of the die during the entire production. So if the temperature of the die is not properly maintained, what kind of, let's say issues or the defects adds up? We end up having, the part defects. The part defect primarily means the misrun, the hot cracks, the gas porosity and shrinkage. And these are the real world problems. All these are, relevant to the die surface temperature being maintained. And in order, the die surface temperature, if not properly monitored, it can lead to thermal stress and the cracks in the die, which will, let's say reduce its, let's say life. And the die is one of the most expensive, the tooling for any, manufacturer in the casting industry. So how do we implement it? We have our, our solution, which is a total thermal vision, shortly abbreviated as TTV. This solution comprises of thermal cameras and a dedicated software. So there are two thermal cameras, let's say installed along the die casting machines. We monitor the, we take the image of the, the fixed die, we take the image of the moving die. We compare these images and then we are able to monitor the temperature. So what do you see, let's say, before, let's say the spraying and after spraying, we compare how is the, the temperature distribution is happening in the surface temperature of die. And if it is being done on uniform basis in shot after shot, means after each component is produced, we are pretty sure that, we are able to control the process, maintain it properly, run the, the dies for the, its, intended life cycle, and also, produce parts with, least possible defects. So in short, the entire, the optimization of the casting process depends upon, measuring and monitoring the die surface temperature. So further, this is the, the few snapshots of our solution. You are able to, let's say, see the temperature images, the thermal graphs rather. All these images, we can, identify certain key points, which we need to, let's say, monitor. All these, points are stored as a temperature points, which can be, available for analysis at a later stage. Then with all these temperature points is also possible to have a trend. In case if there is a, gradual shift or, let's say change in this, let's say temperature points, we can generate alarms, we can generate warning, we can even, let's say, this will be, let's say, precursor for the operator to intervene and try to, understand where something is going wrong. And let's say, make an intervention during the process, during the manufacturing process, and, get this whole process back on track. And last but not the least is also, these images are available to compare, in which you can, see that, what should be the ideal, image while the casting should be done, and what is the current, level of images. So with this comparison, we are able to literally, understand where we are, shifting, or where we are perhaps, going wrong, or perhaps we are producing parts with excellent repeatability. All this was not, let's say, visible earlier. Now these are all tangible, let's say, deliverables available with this TTV's solution of Marposs. And these are the benefits a customer which reaps. So without TTV, it's pretty much, is a massively skilled, a man-skilled process. They try to achieve, let's say, optimum and stable cycles, try to understand a certain warm-up time. And then there is also certain, scraps, which you end up, doing to get the, the die casting machine to the optimal, warming cycle done. Whereas with TTV, everything is, let's say, taken care by the system. You are able to get the real-time insight into each and every shot, what exactly is happening in my, the casting process. I am able to, set up, or let's say warm up my, machine with the least possible, scraps. I am also able to optimize, let's say my lubrication cycle, and able to, save upon, let's say the cycle time, which means I'm able to produce more parts. And last but not the least, all this data is available to the tooling engineers inside these companies. They can optimize their die design for the future, let's say designs, in order to have produced the dies with the best possible, let's say least thermal stresses for the die. Moving on, let's, focus on, let's say what all, let's say Marposs is, promoting, or let's say Marposs is introducing for the metal stamping segment. This is, let's say a very, very vast field. This goes beyond automotive, a lot of, critical components, or even, the basic, the beverage cans, which we, have the, the aerosol cans we have, they're all produced through, metal stamping process. These, processes, if properly monitored with certain key parameters, they derive massive benefit for these producers. So we're going to focus here, primarily on, two parameters. We're going to focus on the force in the metal stamping process. We're also going to focus on acoustic and ultra emission, let's say signals. We're going to come and see what exactly we mean. So essentially, what we mean is we will have a sensor inside a stamping machine, in which we are able to, let's say generate a force or a, let's say, signal of that. Then the process monitoring solution from Marposs is able to understand that signal and put a limits to it. And these limits, once, let's say, set with respect to the production, we are able to see where we are going out of the range, and we can, let's say, generate, let's say an alarm, or we can even, stop the machine in case there is a massive variation in the signals. This is the most simplest explanation, or the layman's terms of what exactly, Marposs does for the stamping process. But then, there, are immense, let's say, technicalities and complexities in it. We're going to cover that in the next slides. So what we speak about, these are sensors. The sensors, they can be, let's say, installed in a stamping machine at, various positions. You can put it in the con rod. You can put it in the ram. You can also put it on the frame. So that, and further down, you can also, put these sensors further down into the stripper plate, inside the tooling, inside the top, let's say the hard plates. The idea to put these, sensors in the machine is to, identify, certain, let's say defects, or certain, let's say the process variations, which can be, captured, and we can, let's say optimize our, manufacturing process. So once we put a sensors in the RAM, we get an overall universal, load, what is happening across in each stroke. But if we go down to the tooling, if we put the sensor inside the tooling, in the stripper plate or in the hard plate, we go down to each and every operation. If it's a multi-stage tooling or a single-stage tooling, we are able to monitor each and every process, be it blanking, drawing, coining, piercing, or trimming. You're able to understand, if there are any process variations happening. A process variation will most likely produce a defective part, and a process variation happening over a long period of time will end up, damaging the tooling. So all in all will be, captured real time. And the real time, let's say, outputs are available for, let's say the machine and the operator to take, let's say actions and, stop the machine or, sort out just the bad parts. We focus upon, with ultra emission, let's say signals to identify slugs. This is absolutely, let's say very critical. The parts being produced in stamping are, massive. There are, electrical contacts, which are very small parts. There are laminations, the essential part of any electrical motor. There, let's say big automotive, parts like, cylinder gaskets or even structural parts. All these parts, in case if there are any, let's say variations of the force while the stamping operation happens, they will have defects. And these defects are usually not able to capture till, they reach to the quality or let's say assembly stage. There, is possible with, ultra emission sensors provided by Marposs to check them in real time on the machine itself and either, sort out these bad parts or even, stop the machine and correct if, some correction in the tooling mounting has to be done. Further, putting these sensors also, let's say, eliminates the need of, let's say having a dedicated or, massively trained, workforce or, experienced people, because these sensors will kind of like ensure that, the machines are always set optimally. How do we do that? We have a sensor inside the machine. So once we, let's say run the machine during the warm-up phase, we see, let's say what kind of the signal curve is coming. We further, let's say we see that, in a stamping machine, a typical construction is involved, the tooling, as well as there are stop blocks. There shouldn't be, optimally any contact with the stop blocks, because that is, let's say, just, we are kind of like consuming more energy, which could be available for, running the machine more efficiently. So the customer, let's say the operator rather here, is not able to understand, if there is any stop block taking any force, but with the process monitor and a, force sensor inside the machine, will be able to, see that. So if they see that, there is a stop block force being generated, they can further optimize the setting and see how much is the, the process result. This can be further optimized to receive the best possible setup of the machine. This will, let's say, ensure that the tooling are run properly. We produce the parts in the best possible manufacturing conditions, and we further, let's say, run the machine very optimally, so that, the press is doing what it's supposed to do, manufacture parts and, produce the parts by stamping, but not, let's say, producing abnormal forces, which will, lead to its, let's say more maintenance costs and, more downtime of the machine. There's further possibility of, these sensors in order to, improve the productivity. How? Because we are quite, let's say wary of, not running the machine to its optimum condition, but at a safety factor. But with these, sensor signals inside the machine, the operator is able to understand, what kind of, let's say the force level is being produced. So they can, speed up the machine in order to see what is the force level signals are being produced, and, kind of like reach a further, let's say an optimum speed of the machine, where they see the force signals are produced very uniformly as they should be produced in an optimal cycle. This will ensure that, the machine is run at optimum speed, not at, reduced speed, in order to, be unsure about it. So there is the operator doesn't go blindly in producing the parts on the machine. They can run the machines with these sensors and the process monitor to the best possible speed, which means, massive, improvement in the productivity. And more than that, you also, use the tooling with the best possible conditions, so that, you're able to get, more, life out of the tools. The benefits which pretty much are derived from, introducing these sensors in the stamping machines are, summed up here on this slide. We are, take care of the overload of the machine. We introduce 100% quality control on the machine itself during production. The machine, these process monitors helps in the, the auto setup of the machine. So you don't need a, skillful man force here. There is also possibility of running the machines without operator, which means the process monitor is installed on the machine. They're going to take care of it. In case of any abnormal load, it's going to stop the machine, which means one operator can run multiple machines. So you can, for the operator can focus upon, multiple tasks. It will also remove the fatigue. It will also help in, optimizing the manpower on the shop floor. Apart from the overall productivity, with this, we are able to, let's say, focus a lot on the scrap production after the final inspection, because we'll be able to identify the scrap or reject pieces on the machine itself and not let it pass through the further processes down the line. And, let's say, and after the quality inspection, you find the defects. You identify it on the machine and you achieve the results. And all this, is available to be connected on an Industry 4 platform, where, the owners or the key stakeholders can have a look on the real time, what's happening, and lots of analysis available in that regards. So thank you all very much for your session, and I'm open for the question answer later on. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Sarabjit, for that fascinating presentation. And I have so many questions for you. I believe Sachin went off the broadcast, and but let's have him at the end of this whole presentation sequence. Deepak, over to you for the next presentation. Let me quickly introduce Deepak. Deepak Mehta is the product manager post-process solution, and he's going to present insights with us on leakage, opto, measuring benches, and machines. Over to you, Deepak.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Anand, and good evening to everyone. So I start the session related to the post-process application solutions available with the Marposs. So starting with the standard components with the LVDT transducers, which are the very, very standard components for us. And they are with the standard with spring push facilities, with the pneumatic push, with the vacuum retract. And they also come with the soft touch for the glass applications. And they are with the LVDT probes and half bridge transducers, plus they are the digital probes as well. Then we have the standard bore gauges, M1 star gauges for the bore ID, and then we have the M3 stars for the OD applications with the mechanical bore gauge and electronic bore gauge. And the repeatability of this bore gauges will be starting from 0.5 to 1 micron, and we guarantee the 10 million of measuring cycles the life of the contact part is concerned. Then we have the bore gauges, but we can have the transmission Bluetooth, and we have the local display available. So we are get rid of the cables, and we can have the local display, and we can save the data on the PC. PC is having the software, and we can have the data analysis at the later stage. We have the standard dial indicators, column type displays, and the column type of displays, quick read, very small displays, analog plus digitals. Quick set benches, which are very, very retoolable, and they can be of the vertical setup, they can be of horizontals, and so on. We can also, integrate the Mitutoyo or some other third-party instrument so that the complete application will be there. So we have the amplifier boxes, and then these amplifier boxes can be connected to our PC and the software. So we'll use not only the Marposs, these gauges, also the external, these kind of simple calipers and so on. Then we have a display units, very starting from the very simple display unit, 4.3 inches display unit for Duo, where we can have the couple of sensors connected, and we can have a small graphical displays. Then we have the bigger displays where we can use the more number of transducers. We have the Nemo, and then we have the Merlin displays where we can connect up to 16, up to 32 transducers, different type of amplifiers, and the Digicrown boxes for connection with the Digicrown probes, digital probes. The Merlin Plus is another platform for the electronic unit where we can have the graphical display of the component, and then we can have make the guided sequence program, which can guide the operator to go one by one. The inspection part is concerned, and then you can also connect the scanners if the part is already marked with some serial number, and we can scan the serial number, and we can store the measurement result against the serial number for the future traceability part is concerned. Our complete integrated computer industrial PC, and this is complete for starting for the manual benches to the automatic applications. This is having the Windows platform, Windows 10 platform, and this can also have the data given to the MES servers for the integration and so on. Our Quick SPC software, which is doing the online SPC analysis for the process and the gauge capability controls used for all the applications, starting from the manual, going to the semi-automatic, then further going to the fully automatic applications are concerned. We can have the customized fixtures, customized standard fixtures, manual gauges, dog houses. So dog houses where we want to check that the component without a variable, but we put the fixtures and we check with the gauges, go-no-go gauges, as well as the handheld variable gauges. A complete solution where we have the gauge table, where we have all the plugs, the PC, and everything is guided. You have the part, you have the barcode scanner, and you do all the inspection at one gate station. Then we are also going ahead with this is the new technology that we have. We will use one cable and is called as a SmartNet. And in this SmartNet, we can connect all the different varieties of the transducers, like the bore gauges, the A124 transducers, put on some quick set applications, some quick blocks, some probes. So it carry everything in one cable only. So the management of the complete sensors at one station will be very, very nicely placed. Then we go to the technology called as a still non-contact chromatic confocal sensors, which are based on the rainbow, on the white light, and where we have the different kind of sensors. We can have the point sensors, line sensors, and the electronic units which will be connected to this displays. So we will have this kind of optical pen. Then we have some working distance, and then we have the measurement range, for which we can check, do the real measurement part is concerned. So we can check practically any kind of material, whether it is a glass material, it is a ceramic material, or the metal. And we can check the distances, thickness. We can check the roughness, which is more than 17 nanomicrons. And we can do also the inspection. Inspection means if it is small area, some chamfer is there or some size is to be checked. So we can do also the inspection with this technology part is concerned. This sensors can be used in different kind of systems as well. If we put this kind of sensor on the robotic arm, and then we can move this robotic arm, and this can check the complete profile. For example, the first photograph is related to the profile of a sunroof. So with this one sensor, and we move, and we can check the complete profile of the sunroof. Then we have the different application, putting the sensor on on the gantry type of axis for the portico. Then we have a small 3D coordinating machine. So it's a micromeasure where we put the this still sensor, and we put the part depending on the dimensions that we need to check if the part is concerned. Then going to the customized solutions, we also have the bore gauges, which are used on the transfer lines. Transfer lines means for giving the feedback to the machine tool. And these kind of gauges are mainly for the feedback to the boring machines, honing machines. So means these are the gauges used on the machine for the post-process feedback. And these are equipped with air cleaning arrangements. These are equipped with the part temperature, ambient temperature compensations, and so on, so that we give the feedback on the machine tool itself. Then we have a different kind of customized solutions for the checking of the cone rods, for example. Not only the cone rod, but this is an example where we can check the cone rods, the big end diameter, small end diameters, then their center distances and their twist and bend, which is very, very important for this type of components. We have a scanning gauge, and this is a scanning gauge for the auto injectors, where you have the spool, you have the sleeves, and we have to check the OD, we have to check the ID, and we have to do the clearance checking. And here we are speaking of the sub-micron level of accuracy part is concerned. And we have this is very, very accurate, where we are speaking of a clearance of sub-micron levels. Then going to the inspection for the gear part is concerned, we have this kind of flexible gauge, which is used to check the overball diameters, root diameters, major diameters, which are the basic inspections. And this is completely flexible. The gear can have the odd number of teeth and even number of teeth. This is completely routable, starting from the small size, going to the bigger size is concerned. NVH, which is noise, vibration, and harshness. So this is the gauge which is used to check the parameters of the gear, mainly related to the vibration and noise. And this is the gauge where we simulate the condition of the gear exactly as per in the condition when it will be fitted in the automobile, in the engine part is concerned. So means here the gear is rotated at the RPM of 3000, and the torque is varying from 0 to 40 Newton microns. So we keep the constant speed, and we increase the force and the torque, and vice versa. We keep the constant torque and we increase the speed. So we basically simulate the real condition of the gear, and then we check the parameters related to the NVH. We have also the flexible machines, contact type of flexible machines for checking the crankshafts, camshafts, transmission shafts, which are the important part of the engine. Another technology to check the eddy current technology to check the cracks and porosity into the component. So we have the different kind of eddy current probes, and we induce the eddy current into the component. So we keep a very small gap between the component and the probe is concerned. Then eddy current is induced into the component, and we read back with the change in the frequency. We read back if there is any defect is present in the component or not. Basically, is for the casting as well as if the component is like the engine block is there, and we want to check where the piston is moving, because the piston bore is very, very important, and there is a need to check where there is any porosity is available or not. We can check the porosity as minimum as 0.5 millimeters. So very, very small porosity can also be checked with this kind of gauge. Then we have another solution for the checking of the bottles, and any kind of bottle, any kind of container can be checked. This is completely flexible, and here the requirement is to check the external dimensions of the bottle, to check the ID of the neck, to check the thickness of the bottle, and to check also the area where the labeling is done. This area has to be very, very smooth and very, very clear. And for this application, we use different kind of cameras. We use different kind of sensors for the checking of ID. So basically the parameters like the height of the bottle, the parallelism, verticality. So all the shapes that need to be important from the container's point of view, we can check with this VisiQuick solution. We also check the weight of the bottle, which is also very important. We also check the bulge, which is on the bottom of the bottle, which will be important factor from the stability point of view. Then we have the optical technology based on the infrared rays, based on shadow cast principle. So is a camera is there, and one emitter is there, one receiver is there. So whenever the emitter emits the infrared rays and the component part comes in between, it casts the shadow on the receiver, and based on the number of pixels highlighted, we are able to tell you what is the exact diameter. And then this fork is placed on a vertical slide, which is equipped with the encoders, optical encoders, and based on the linear scale, we are also able to tell you the diameter, the distances, and all these kind of parameters. Then we have also developed one gauge called as OptoFlash. So as the name indicates, is completely a flash. There is no vertical Z movement. It is not even a one ray of the light. It is an array, X and Y array of the light. So we have the different versions. 100 millimeter is the size of one camera. So 100 millimeter can be checked in one go. And if the component is to be checked in the static mode, we just need a couple of seconds. And if we need to rotate, it can be checked in 10 to 12 seconds. We check all the parameters. And I have a small movie to show you about this OptoFlash. So basically all the parameters like cylindricity, parallelism, flatness, coaxiality, even the cam profile. We also check the cam profile with the optical technology. But we can check only the convex, the positive profiles, because based on the shadow cast principle. So different kind of models, starting from 100 millimeter going up to 1200 millimeters. We can also develop the extra large machine for the dimensional measures, position, the form measurements. Any kind of component can be checked here. So the part can be very small screw. It can be pushed on the customized bottom center. The interface is very, very friendly. So you can do the programming, you can enlarge the area, and then you can select which parameter you want to check. And it's very user-friendly programming. part loading, the part type change, the correct tooling indicators. So basically it's a completely flexible solution. Any kind of shaft can be checked. So today you are checking the cam shaft, tomorrow you can check the transmission shaft and so on. Okay. So now moving to the different field called as leak testing. So basically leak test is a couple of types. Like the basic leak test that we see is the bubble test is on the water, and we can check the water bubble. If there is any leakage, we can check the water bubbles coming out. The another one is the pressure decay. So we insert the pressure from one side and we put air in from one side and we check the pressure decay from the other side. And if it needs to be checked very precisely, we have the helium. So we induce the helium into the component, and then there will be different tests like the vacuum chamber or the sniffer test. We put the part into the vacuum chamber, and then based on the the helium molecules that leak from the part, we can check with the spectrometer, and we can tell you the very small leakage. So it depends on the what kind of leakage we want to check. For example, starting from 10⁻³ millibar liter per second, going up to 10⁻⁸. So 10⁻⁸ means a very small leak. So just to give you an example, for example, if we have the air conditioner or we have the refrigerators, and if there is any leakage in the condenser, which is 2 gram per year or 1 gram per year, so such a small leak need to be detected, because the quality of these products have to be at a certain level. And the other applications are like you want to check the radiators, evaporators, condensers, or AC hoses, or alloy wheels, and so on. Then we have the standard Techna products, the standard instruments where we can check the leakage based on the different kind of applications. Like one principle is the absolute pressure decay, where we just check the pressure difference at the exhaust side, and then is a differential pressure decay. So we do the comparison with the standard leaks. Then we have the flow rates and flow test, direct measurement of flow, and also with the combination with the pressure decay. It can be used in the manual applications or in the automatic applications, and so on. And in some of the applications, they are also equipped with the temperature probes, the temperature compensations, and it is also supplied with the calibrating leaks, and as well as the leak test controllers for the calibration part is concerned. Then we can also do the leak test complete assembly. Leak test assembly means a complete application where we have to check the leakage, all the circuits. Just to give you an example, in the cylinder block, we have to check the high pressure oil circuit, low pressure oil circuit, blow-by circuits, water jackets. So all these need to be checked during the process itself, like when it is intermediately ready or when it's the final inspection. And not only the leak test, and usually these machines are also combined with the assembly line applications, where you have to do the cup pressings. For example, in the cylinder head, you have to do the cup pressing, you have to tightening the screws and all this kind of stuff. So it is a final assembly line application. Then the helium I have already explained. So basically for the helium, you can check for the fuel tanks, AC hoses, and everything. And not only this, because helium is quite expensive gas, so we also make the helium recovery systems, and which are connected to the helium machines, and 85 to 90% of the helium which is not used, or which is standover, and this can be recovered with this helium recovery systems. A small movie for the helium. So this is made by our helium heat company, which is in near to Milan in Italy, our group company. So this is a double chamber machine for the saving of the cycle, looking at the cycle time. So part loading can be done with the manually, and after the loading of the parts, the connectors are manually aligned. start the cycle, then the door is closed, vacuum is created. So the size of the machine will is very big because depending on how big is the AC, these hoses are concerned. The test pressure is 40 bar, but we have also made the machines where the test pressure is more than 200 bars. Cycle time is 72 seconds. So in 72 seconds, we can check the two parts. We can common use the spectrometers, and the vacuum systems and everything are also commonly used between the two chambers, shared between the two chambers. And is also making the punch. If the part is good, they make the punch. And also the barcode is generated. So we can physically put the barcode for the traceability part is concerned. And this can be detected, okay, what is the part that we have checked, and is recorded for the future records. So the part is okay and approved. So this is how the overall machine is will look like. The two chambers of the machines, then the electrical cabinets on the back side, the printers, and here is a loading and loading. The operator can load on one station and then start the first station will start work, and parallelly he can load on the second station and so on. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Deepak, for that very, very informative presentation. As I do have for other presentation, I have many questions for this one. The next speaker we have is Paolo. Let me quickly introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, Paolo's background. Paolo has been working with Marposs for more than 20 years, having started as a product specialist for measuring software and gauge computers. He's worked as a managing director of Marposs UK for almost 8 years, start from 2008 to 2016. And once back in Italy, he was appointed as TESTAR, TESTAR division manager, the division which manages handheld products and components. He's now also a coordinator for Marposs digital platform project, or also called with the acronym MINDO. He's a graduate of the University of Bologna in telecommunications engineering. I invite Mr. Paolo Baluzzi to give a presentation on the subject.
Thank you very much, Amanda. I will start my presentation. Sorry, I need to share it. Can you see it?
Yes, it's visible. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. As you probably have seen from the presentation of my colleagues, Marposs has always been involved in measurement and acquisition of data and quality control throughout all the through the whole process in many manufacturing sectors. Coming from the coming inspection, machine tool monitoring, grinding monitoring, measuring, production, let me say offline, what we call the offline measurements, final inspection, and quality management system. And of course, as Aman mentioned, in 2020, more than 20 years ago, when I was starting in Marposs, we were already saving data, measurement data in these various steps of the production, what in the actual informatic jargon are called domains. And for each of these domains, for each of these steps, we were able to save data and improve and analyze the production of that specific step of the production. Sorry. Recently, with the arrival of the fourth revolution in the industry, what they call the Industry 4.0, many more devices, many more data has been produced through the process lines. And we realize that we were in a privileged position, because we were able to collect and get data from throughout all the production line, from all our applications. And this data, not only we realized that, but our customers were asking this. I mean, everyone was asking, why don't you collect all this data in one position? So me as a customer, I can easily have a look how the production is going, every single application, every single step of my own process. So not only because we were able to go through this, but also because our customer was asking this. And this is where Mindo, that, by the way, just for your information, Mindo is the way that our Japanese colleague called mind. So the Japanese translation, if you want, of the English word mind. Mindo was born exactly for this, in order to try to collect information coming from monitoring system, measurement system, testing, and enterprise software. And combining all this information, the target that we have is providing what we call the total quality for our customer. Because having data stored all in one, in a single position, that could be, let me say, a database, that could be, we will see, a cloud storage, or any of this, it will provide our customer the opportunity to understand better their own production, their own process, and how these, what are the correlation, and we will see very soon, what are the correlation between every single step of the production. This is really an important point, because our customers are always trying to improve their own process. And the possibility and the opportunity to understand what are the connection between any steps of their production is a key factor in order to improve their production. So from the point of view of functions available, data source integration, as I said, is easier, let me say, to quick access to all quality information and data from a single point, from the offices. And for example, if you have the possibility to share this information on a cloud, even from anywhere in the world, because in reality, there is no more geographical limit to the availability of this data. And this is linked to the remote system and device management, because at the same time, this type of connection can help customer to operate and to update and to change even the programming in some of the production application. Data operability, maximize, of course, I mean, the quality data can be improved with what is called data augmentation. So in reality, you can add as much information as you can, as you want, to the information that is coming out of the production. And of course, all these with the target to make analysis, and this is called analytics in order to analyze and to understand and how the production is moving, how your production is moving. And discovery, as I said, the more evident and the less evident, so the hidden improved opportunities in order to improve the output and take the right decision, because I mean, analysis and it's strictly related to what you can do in order to improve and make decision in order to improve your own process. Of course, the fact that has been the mind has been structured in order to be based on the last type of technology, web-based technology, it will give the possibility to customer to scale up in order, if the company is growing or if there is a new production site, for example, it could be very easy to connect these two production sites or these increased amount of machines that you have in your production. So the scale up is definitely an advantage of this new technology. Quarta Evo is an important piece of this wide Lego. This, let me say, big puzzle that we created with Mindo, it will give us the possibility to not only get data from production, but also manage completely the business from the from an higher point of view, because managing non-conformity, managing product certification, but also supplier, because if you get data from the goods in, and these data are not, let me say, as you expected, or you understand that the, let me say, the poor or not too good, let me put it this way, or just barely at the limit, raw material that gets in, you can make immediately react to your supplier and improve since the very beginning your whole process. So as I said, software update, maintenance, assistance, and remote programming and connectivity on your devices. And by the way, as I said, we started from our own devices because we are all over the production process, but at the same time, we are quite agnostic on this. I mean, there is no reason for excluding other company devices from this. Of course, as you can imagine, we started with our own because that was the very best first step that we can do on this. Data collection, basic visualization and display, and eventually the possibility as well to connect to customer system, getting data, for example, from other system that manages your production, like ERP or other, let me say, software that can help customer to produce and that schedule, for example, the production. Data and data export, because once you have all the data connected, could be an advantage having the possibility and the opportunity to export this data into a Excel file because you want to have another look in a different way. But at the same time, to have the possibility to have integrated analytics for statistical analysis, the classical CP and CPK for the process, or even, let me say, more deeper analysis with every type of business intelligence software that you can have. And as I said, also the more, let me say, an higher level of integration with other customer application software, like part program management, automatic warning for how the production is going, and so on. This is just to show you just an example of the various type of application, of devices that we can connect. So easily using a web browser, you can see what are all the devices, if they are connected, where are they in the world eventually. If you have multiple sites, even within the same country, of course, but if you have multiple sites, you can have the opportunity to see how the production is going in different places. And as I said, the fact that you can manage the programming of the single application, of course, it could save time to operators to go down the shop floor and making some changes and so on. Of course, I mean, the parameter that we manage usually are the very basic one, because I mean, if you have a production that is producing shafts, more or less, or let's say 99% of the time, you are changing diameter, size, tolerances, or name of the batch, or these kind of things. No more than that. Data collection and visualization, of course, I mean, this is just a few examples of the data that you can save and see through, I mean, based on time or on batch production. And at the same time, we have the possibility also, as I said, to interface MES, ERP, or quality management systems in order to send them data or receive data from these other type of software. I mentioned the key point of all these platforms, that is the opportunity and the possibility to discover hidden relationship between the various steps of the production. Because of course is mandatory important nowadays having the most optimized production in place. And if you spotted that, for example, measurement taken at the very early stage of the production, that even if within the limits, you understand that creates after the assembly with other components, for example, can create some problem at the leak test, for example, that is the final step of your after the assembly of all the components. And you see that there is a correlation between some measurement at the beginning and the fail at the very end of the completely assembled components. Having all this information available, it can give you the opportunity to stop production and not wasting time and money in putting through components, through all the other steps, components that will be ending with some problem at the very end. So cross correlation and prediction on the process is a key point in order to improve your own production. Not only because once you realize that there could be some non-conformity or something that went wrong at the very beginning, there is also the possibility not only to keep track of these through and manage these non-conformity at the higher level. So having quite clear with reports and with corrective and preventive actions, but also having the possibility to deeply analyze this through various methods. One of these is the root cause analysis in order to improve your process and production. The I said that this is a web-based, and this is really a key point of this, is a web-based technology that will allow us to give us the possibility to access to all data and from everywhere. You just need, of course, the access to a web browsing and an internet connection. And that would be enough in order to see exactly the same thing that you can see from your own office or from the side in the process, from the machine at the side of the production line. This was just an example that I've already mentioned. Eventually, having this was an example that we test with some drilling process, testing the drilling, testing the measurement with, by the way, with ARTIS monitoring system, and then measuring the bore produced with that, and with this data, and let me say a decent amount of data, but I mean, if you are producing components, the data is the last of your problem. We can understand, we can make what is called a regression analysis in order to understand ideally what will be the next size of the bore that the machine is drilling in this specific moment. So try to predict what is the size of the bore. Of course, with a tolerance, as you can see from the two light blue lines. But by the way, it's this is just an example. Usually when we start talking about the collecting data, saving data, cloud, everyone is asking or is a bit concerned about the security and the of this data. But I want to reassure everyone, because in reality, cloud is one of the options. There will be exactly the same possibility in having just an on-premise solution, so a central database on which you can access only from internally of your company, or even a hybrid solution with the mixed on-premise and cloud possibility. What is really, really important is collecting data and saving in one single place. Of course, I mean, cloud solution is definitely the better solution for all the companies that has a geographically spread production, because it will give them the possibility to connect all this data and having a look to all the production sites from one single place. Thank you, everyone. This was a brief and hopefully clear enough presentation of Mindo, and that's it. So if you need any question or for anything else, I'll be available.
Thanks so much, Paolo. This was indeed informative. It told our audiences a lot about the digital platform solution, Mindo, that you have to offer. And now we have a couple of questions from the audience, as well as one. I have one of mine. I'll start with the one question that I have for Luca to begin with. Luca, in the manufacturing segment and as consumers in general in India, the impression that we have of Italian brands or Italian value that it brings. Obviously, Marposs India is as much an Indian company as it is Italian. My question is that we have known the craftsmanship, the aesthetics, the precision and the attention to detail that the Italian heritage of any brand, including Marposs, brings to the table. Now, my question to you is, its global reach, Marposs's global reach, its Italian heritage, and its Indian presence. What does it mean to its consumers in India in terms of the service, in terms of the quality, in terms of the after sales care that you bring to the table?
Thank you very much. That is a very interesting question. And as you just say that, okay, yes, Marposs India is an Indian and even Italian company. So as per all the Marposs distributor, so as per where we are having our direct presence in every country, the quality of our application and of our service is the same that the one provided by our Italian colleague. This because there is a very strong interaction between us, so the employees that are resident in a specific country with our headquarters. We are undergoing a strong and continuous training on our productive center in Italy, in Germany, in Europe, or wherever is needed. And so the quality also for the after-sales service and of our product is exactly the same that the one, the original one when there was only the Marposs Italia, Marposs Italy providing this solution. You know? So I mean, one of example, if I can take, is we just taking back 2 engineers after 3 months exposure for a special dedicated product, our optical solution from Italy. So I mean, they work side to side with our engineers and technicians in Italy in order to acquire the same level of knowledge. So I mean, we are not, as a quality company, as a quality provider, as a provider of quality solution, we are not compromised at all on the quality of our product. Doesn't matter where they are sold, who is dealing with them, and who is making them. So the quality for us is the first point.
Thanks so much, Luca. My next question is to Paolo. Paolo, that was a very informative, very insightful information presentation on Mindo. My question to you is that the last 2 to 3 years have been particularly challenging for everyone, whether it is manufacturing or services the world over, because of a host of challenges, including, of course, the pandemic. Now, it has been seen around the world that the demand and the preference for digital solution has increased for obvious reasons, that people have become more accustomed, more familiar with digital solutions. Have you seen the influence of the last few years in people's increased demand for digital products? Has it in a way influenced the demand for Mindo, for your digital platform products? And if so, if yes, how have you been able to take advantage of this?
Let me say, you're perfectly, absolutely right. I mean, all of us, I mean, understood and learned how to make video calls. Zoom has been probably the best discover for everyone in order to collaborate with such a huge distance. And at the same time, let me say that the Marposs digital platform has taken more and more lights, let me say, more and more interest in this. I have to be honest, I mean, the idea of the Marposs digital platform was coming even before, and started mainly with the acquisition of BlueLink, that is one of the a software company that is managing, is the producer of Quarta Evo that I mentioned in my presentation. And seeing, let me say, having to deal with this company that is taking up quality from the top, from the higher level of the company, has given us this, let me say, willing and this push in order to start this process. But as you said, we have received lots and lots of interest in the past couple of years, because company understood that not only to improve their own production, but the fact, for example, that they can access data from, and just say something, directly from home, and see how the single plant was going, and all these things is something that has been really, really interesting for lots of our customers.
Thanks, Paolo. My next question is to Raman. Raman, you said something very interesting. You said Marposs has seen the future. Indeed, and particularly when it comes to EV solutions, which are really picking up in India. Raman, my question is that there's a lot of interest in India around the battery management solutions because of the increasing incidents of batteries catching fire. So what are the solution? What is the response that you are seeing in this segment? And how do you propose to address these responses?
Oh, very good question, Anand. Again, what we discussed in our panel discussion, we need to ensure the safety of battery. So to ensure the safety of the battery, we need to conduct certain testings. So what again testings means leakage and electrical testing that is to be conducted. So again, what my request was to the different viewers here, that please don't compromise with the quality. Our MD, Mr. Luca Mattiucci, already said that Marposs focus on quality. So just to ensure safety of the battery, Marposs is there to support every of their customer with most precise quality control solution. And yes, regarding the responses, now government has introduced the norms, certain norms for the battery testing. Now we hope that everyone will be focusing on the testing and the quality control of the battery, and Marposs always will there to support every customer.
Thanks so much, Raman, for that very interesting and very encouraging answer. Now my question is to Sachin. Sachin, you spoke about MEDA. And my question to you is, and you said something really fascinating. You said every chip tells a story. Now, can you give us a real life example of a story that a chip told your machines, and how did it help the manufacturer?
Yeah, as we say that every chip tells a story. As and when you have a right process, you have a right cutting of chips. Like people say that if you get a blue chip, it has got a right amount of feed and right amount of force while doing the cutting process. So answering on to your question, we were just working with one of our German colleague, wherein we understood that the Rolls-Royce is using one of the coolant flow monitoring for a gun deep hole drilling machine, like wherein we do monitor the coolant flow inside the machine, which is one of the prominent part in Indian industry, I would say. Like people are not caring much about the coolant are concerned. So whereas in that area, like during the chip cutting, like if something clogs or the through coolant drill has got a blockage, a kind of blockage in the process, so we will be able to identify that with the help of our flow sensors, and then we will be able to give a proper solution for that kind of process, addressing the right point of at the right point of time for the process needs. So I would say this in turn says that every chip tells a story in a beautiful way, to have a process monitoring or a process control implemented onto the machine to have a right component produced at the right time.
Thanks so much, Sachin, for the very precise answer and very interesting insight. My next question is to Sarabjit. Sarabjit, you spoke about TTV, which is total thermal vision, and BrainCam. You said something very interesting among other things, was that when you're talking about press optimizing press settings, if I'm not, do please correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
You said that it kind of improves productivity in reducing manual intervention, right? And my thought that time was that India obviously is a very labor intensive country. Our industry is very labor intensive. People would rather prefer to have people, even at the cost of certain quality measures. So what is the response that you get when you propose these solutions that this will improve your productivity and will save you manual intervention? And a related question is, what is the best combination in that sense? What should be the percentage of human operation and the percentage of the sensor tools, the measurement tools that you bring into the picture? Sorry.
Great. First thing first, our solutions are not here to take away the jobs of people, not at all that. What we are trying to here is, help the people in the shop floor to do their job much better. Okay, that's the whole effect. And also to the people who are responsible for those people on the shop floor to have particular insight into the process. Because right now it's running blind, we are focused on the production. I have to run my production, I know what happens in the shop floor is during the daytime, the supervisors are there, the things might be running smoothly. In the night, the feeds are going to be really high. People are going to produce the jobs very quickly, and then they're going to have their, me time going around. Okay. But having these sensors and the process monitors on the machines ensures that, the machines are run optimally, so that, a machine in optimum condition is a machine which goes in downtime, is the downtimes are minimized, the maintenance is minimized, and that's how you improve the productivity. Having said that, when we propose these solutions, and it's very interesting, these solutions, especially our monitoring solutions, are not going to the corporates massively. These are going to MSMEs for us. Marposs is heavily, customer base is a corporate customer base for us since years. But with the our monitoring solution is quite strongly on MSMEs, because they understand that having a kind of like a closed loop solution, a monitoring solution deployed on shop floor, kind of like gives a power to the owner or the management team in having insights on the shop floor, which they will be missing because of having the key skillful people on the shop floor. So they can with these systems, they augment the people on the shop floor, and they are able to produce the parts properly. They are able to run the machines properly with the least possible maintenance. And having said that, a good ratio to have it, if you believe us, as at Marposs, we strongly say put sensors in each machine so that you are able to run the machine properly. Okay. And that, and so that the people are also able to, ensure that, they run the machine properly and they, achieve their, let's say goals in that regards. So it's not a, let's say massive, here to, eliminate the people, but it's to ensure people to do the job properly with us. That's all.
Thanks so much, Sarajit, for addressing that in a very, very clear and certain way. My question on this to Deepak, on your presentation is, Deepak, you talked about, among other things, optical measurement solutions. And one thing among many others that caught my attention was a solution, I think VisiQuick, among others, that you use for glass containers. So my immediate thought was that what kind of industries is it up? Does it find real life applications in? Is medical, for example, medical equipment also one of the industries? Can you give me a real life example of what types of products it is used for, this technology is used for?
Okay, right, Anand. So you touched two topics. One is the optical inspection, and optical inspection is the inspection which is contactless and which is completely flexible. It is basically for any kind of shaft components, any kind of geometrical inspections and so on. So when we have the long, very high cycle time and the production is very high, then the people used to go with the dedicated solutions. But now if we have to speak about the short time period, means 5 years, not for the 10 years like in the previous, when the engine is being produced, you have the life cycle of more than 10, 12 years. So you have the flexibility of the gauge. You want one gauge that can check multiple variety of the components. So this is the gauge for camshaft, crankshaft, transmission shafts, and everything. The second topic is, because this gives the advantage of flexibility and so on. The second is the VisiQuick. VisiQuick is the gauge to check the glass containers. So glass containers starting from the bottles. Bottles could be from the medical industry, starting from the small bottles, going to the farmer, going to your beauty, the small perfume bottles, the beer bottles, wine bottles, and all this kind of stuff. And the shape of the bottles, the quantity of the liquid inside the bottle is also very important, and where you put the label. So that surface has to be very, very perfect. It should not have the sinks. It should not have the bulge. Otherwise, you will not get the perfect, the label part is concerned. So this gauge is completely flexible starting from the very small bottle going up to the bigger size of the bottle is concerned.
Thanks so much, Deepak. And now my final question is comes from an audience. Zaid Hassan of Bengaluru asks Luca that the year is coming to a close, and next year the IMTEX 2023 metal cutting, which has a focus on metal cutting, is going to be organized in Bengaluru. So what are the products that Marposs will be displaying, and are there any new launches, and what should visitors expect at Marposs?
That is a very interesting question. Yes, obviously, we will be present at the IMTEX. We are just finalizing by the end of the week what we will present to the IMTEX, but for sure, a thing that I can say is that we showcase all the latest technologies that Marposs is able to provide, not only the metal cutting, but the majority of the applications that we just seen in this 1 hour and 45 minutes. So for sure, we'll invite everybody to come to visit our booth, because they will be able to see Mindo, first of all the solution for the machine monitoring solution that Sachin presented before. We showcase also what we're able, a glimpse at least of what we're able to provide in the EV sector, along the biomedical 3C. So there will be a lot, and there will be also a launch of one of our new products for the machine tool cutting. So will be a lot, will be very interesting. So we're encouraging, and we are hoping to receive a lot of people and also visitors in our booth.
Amazing. Great, gentlemen. Thank you so much. For the last 1 hour and a little more, it was a long session, many presentations, but we didn't realize that how time passed because of so many interesting things, and presented with such passion for what you have to offer to the industry. It's a great delight to see the presentation. Our readers are really informed, and this was a great cohesion of Indian and Italian attention to detail, care for the products and services. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I hope to see you at IMTEX. I'll be there, and I wish you a brilliant day and the week ahead.
Thank you for having
Thank you very
us.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, man.
Thank you, everyone.